Simon Davis with It's a Fencer's Life, Lessons from the Trenches.
G'day guys. Simon here, the Profitable Fencer, and this is a Fencer's Life, Lessons from the Trenches. Today I wanted to bring to you a story that had happened to me a few years back now, but just thought it was, rather than business-wise, doing business tips all the time, just a story of something that happened to me while we were out working on a school job out in the middle of out west, western New South Wales. And this story, there was three of us on this job site in middle of winter, actually. I think it was when we did. I can remember that because it was freezing cold in the morning. We had ice on the boots and things like that, so everything was frozen. The ground, to give you a bit of a backstory, the ground was hard granite rock for most of it, and we were doing a 2.1 high spear top fence around the school. So the ground was that hard actually when we were using the augers for the on the excavator, that it was wearing the tips out and the cutters out. So it was actually the granite was sort of splitting out and making like a coarse sand, and it rounded these tips and the cutting edges down to like spoons. It was amazing actually. I've never seen anything like it. So wore my gear out pretty quick on that job. It was pretty hard. But this job in particular was, just to give you a bit of a backstory, the council shire had changed. So it was previous in one shire, went to a different shire, which was about 50, 60 k's from the main office, different town. And we were digging through the rock. There's trees, there's rocks, there's, everything was just hard going. So you can imagine if you've been on a machine before, when you're digging and you're grinding and you just click, and if sometimes you'll pick up that there's something underneath you. But if you're digging through rocks and roots and things like that, very rarely can you pick anything else up. Well, this particular day, I managed to pick up the septic, the main septic line from the school to the retention ponds and the sewer works. Now, this was not a major. It is a major town, but it wasn't a city, so to speak. It was only a very small town, so everything was sort of flowed through to one place. And as you can imagine, being a school, it was a high pressure charged water system, and the septic, when I hit it, exploded, water and crap literally going everywhere. And then, to make it worse, it actually was running out that far we couldn't turn it off anywhere. Nobody knew where to turn it off. So contacted council. As I said, they were 50, 60 minutes away. They came flying out within about 3-4 hours, I suppose. So we're still draining. All this retention ponds are still coming high pressure through this system. And being such an old town, nobody knew where the shut-off valves were, or the stopcocks were to shut everything down. So to be completely honest, was not very popular because there was sewage and water and crap running down the main street of town. The council work was running around every block, shutting off every stopcock on every block, trying to find out where to shut this flow off from. And we basically had shit running down the main street. So it was not real pleasant. Definitely wasn't pleasant on the nose. But we had done our dial before you digs and everything else. But because it was such an old school, nobody knew where any of the originals plans were, and it was all just sort of guess and see. And as most of us have had over our times with working with dial before you digs and things like that, they never seem to be exactly in the vicinity of where they're supposed to be. So that was a little story for you guys. I just wanted to let you know that yes, I have busted through a few pipes in my time, a few septics, few storm waters, main lines, gas lines. Been very lucky for the best part that I have never hit an optic fibre, so to speak. Hit NBN cables, hit Telstra, big main Telstra cables. Actually, we got caught on one of those. And I will say this, that line, I think I've mentioned it before, but that line was, even though we'd done all the processes and everything was put in place, it was not, I was still charged. I think it cost me about $3,500 then to fix that one, because I was the last man standing. I had 2 different tiers above me with management, and I could have passed it on to my excavator operator, but I chose not to. We were the company on the ground doing the work, so even though we had all the processes in place, they still said, you're the last man standing, and they nail you. So be very wary of that, guys. Even though you do still do your processes, you can still get nailed to the wall on that side of things. So yeah, so I wanted to just mention that. Another thing we've just recently done is, or recently consciously done, I should say, is we've done our first no dig fence, and with that process we've been watching what's been happening over in America. Like, I've done it before unconsciously. We're doing it all the time, doing rural stuff, pickets, timber posts, concrete posts. I have done it on chain wire before for temporary fencing, and this one come up, and this was a 100-meter temporary fence chain wire, and we decided to do it as a no dig style. And there's a few little things that I learned along the way that I want to share with you, and it could the big game changer for how things can work for us here in Australia. As I said, we've been watching what the Americans are doing and how they're going through things over there. With us here, my first job here, and that I consciously tried to take notice of how the process was working and pick up on things. And I decided I didn't go, it was an 1800 high fence chain wire. So I just bought 2400 or 8-foot posts. So they're only 2 foot in the ground, 600 in the ground. I didn't bother going longer. For the best part, it was pretty sandy soil, and I probably could have, but all the intermediates stood up perfectly. The gate posts, I had an 8-meter double gate that I used 80 nominal bore posts, medium posts, that I actually concreted them into the ground. They took the gate, and then I had a little single gate with 50 NB pipe, 2-inch pipe, and I thumped them ones into the ground. My findings for that were I actually used Helical wire, 4mm Helical wire. For the Americans that don't know what that is, it's just a plain wire, 4mm, and it has a spring-loaded sort of tension in it. So when you pull that tight, the tension, the spring comes out of it, and the tension holds. So generally, I don't use Helical, but I thought this is just a good chance to see how things operate, move things around a little bit. I normally do 3.15mm wire and double twist it, weave it in and out of the post and double twist, and that's the old way I was taught how to do it. As I said, Helical, I've used it before. I don't like it on short runs because it's hard to get really, really tight on short runs and being heavy wire. But this fence, as I said, it's going to be up for 6 months, and I thought, well, we'll give it a go. So the fact of the matter for that is I use cranked 32 NB cranked stays that cranked at the top. So they just fitted in with a T5032, and I used a bit of pipe and went drove them in on the angle, pulled them out, put the crank stay in, and fitted it at the top. I then had to go back in because I used that Helical wire, and I put some tension on it. And because the ground was sandy, it was just pushing the stay into the sand. And I put a block, a star picket I drove into the ground, probably about 4 feet in behind that stay, so it couldn't move over any further. So if you've got your stay sort of running down on the angle that way, I put another one on the back of it, like a wedge. And what I found is when we cranked the top wire up on the chain, on the line wire on the Helical, it actually pulled our post in the sand nearly clean out of the ground. So we had a few dramas with that. In hindsight, going forward, I would probably put the 50 MBs in, and I've used these in the past on a mega anchor. If you don't know what they are, Google them up. They are like a bracket system that your 50 MB post can sit in, or your 30s, 32s, or your 40s. They can sit in them, and then you can drive your wedges through the back of those, like a 32 MB pipe, and they can go into the ground. So if you're into sand, you can drive them in about 1500, and as it sits on the bracket of like that, and your post is in the middle of my two fingers on the sort of cross. As you sit that way, the deeper you go, the longer they go, and they come out and hold your big base anchor like that. What that does, and it's been proven that I've had to use these before on very wet areas. The deeper you go, the wider that footprint becomes, and it can have a 3-ton vertical pull. So even into sand, you won't pull that post out of the ground. It's a very good way of getting away from swampy areas and hard rocky areas too. You're going to have to go 300-400 into rock, 600 into normal ground, and 900 to 1500 you can drive into a sandy, wet area. And as I said, perfectly. I've done some big jobs with a lot of them trying in the past to get myself out of trouble, where I was digging posts in, big gate posts in sort of muddy conditions, and by putting the barbed wire and tension on security fences, I was just pulling posts out of the ground. So I come across that one by accident years and years ago, and something that I've used quite a lot of. So Google that one up for you guys if you haven't seen them. Mega anchors, they're very, very good product. Very similar to the Waratah strainer system, where you can drive your strainer into the ground, and then they have those anchors where you can drive a star picket on the side of them. So it's a very similar system to that, but it absolutely works a treat. So we then had to put shade cloth all over this for a government site for a school as well. So this chain wire will become like a big sail with the shade cloth on it. But to be honest, it was pretty windy down there yesterday, and other than me probably choosing the wrong type of wire, the Helical wire to tension on, I think it was a pretty good success. And hindsight, if you're going to thump posts in for gate posts, probably need to go into that extra another 2 feet, so make them 12 feet. But the reason I did it that way is I just don't have the capability on my thumpers. I don't have handles on them to get up, so we've got to get up on ladders as it is to hit them at 8 foot. So to get them up onto 10 foot or 12 foot, I'd never reach them. So and being government sites, we're not allowed to get onto the big ladders and things like that anyway. So it was just something I was a bit conscious of and wary of, but worked a treat. I think it was 105 metres. We're in and out in 2 half days, 2 3/4 days, probably a day and a half tops. It was all done. So quite happy with that system. So I'll put some photos up in the Facebook group, the fence post. You can have a look at that, and we'll go from there. But just wanted to let you know that story about the digging through the septic. And yes, it does happen. And they say shit flows downhill. Well, it was flowing everywhere that day, I can tell you, all over us as well, down the main street. And I did definitely have a few sideways glances. So hope you enjoyed that. I will talk to you soon. I'm trying to get these now. It looks like we've got this video system working a little bit better now with the Starlink internet. It seems to not be cutting down as much, so that's great. Have a great day. Stay safe. It's starting to warm up out there, so stay hydrated, especially you guys in Aussie land. Starting to get quite warm for us. Take it easy. All the best.
Thanks again for listening to the Fencer's Life podcast. Be sure to follow on Twitter, Instagram, or the free Facebook group, The Fence Posts. And of course, Simon's personal Facebook, facebook.com/Simon M. Davis 1. And also check out Spotify to get weekly episodes. If you believe Simon can help you make a difference in your fencing business, please reach out to him on Messenger or visit his coaching mentoring site at theprofitablefencer.com. Until then, stay safe and happy fencing.